Winter is coming, my friends.
And winter is coming.
And by that, I mean massive amounts of inflation around the United States. I was speaking yesterday to a friend who operates a business in Los Angeles, California. She informed me that she's been attempting to get workers hired for the last 2 months, completely unsuccessfully. When there are many people out of work, you think that they'd be chomping at the bit to work for this incredibly nice and kind woman. Why do you think that she didn't get any takers? Because the government is literally paying you to sit on your ass. In leftist California, they have extended unemployment insurance until September. What they're doing is they're giving them a taste of socialism, getting them hooked good and proper.
Gave your mother a taste, put the hook into her. Now she doped up good and proper.
How can she compete with that? She has to raise the wage level to such a degree that it makes it worthwhile for somebody to leave their couch, which they are literally getting paid to sit on. And then she has to raise the prices of the goods that she's selling to make up for the increased price of labor going into the product. Of course, in an international marketplace, that's a little bit more difficult to do. It's certainly possible, but there's a limit as to how much she can raise that. Or she can simply fold up shop, move it somewhere else, produce from Vietnam, produce from another state that is incentivizing people to sit on their couches. If she stays in California, that means perhaps that nothing is being produced. That means that all the money that is being shelled out to people will not be able to buy any goods and services because there isn't anything on the shelves to purchase. Huh? What happens then? The money is literally worthless. Money only has value if it can be exchanged for a good or a commodity. So what do? You print more money. You hand it out to people and hope that that will incentivize. Of course, this raises the prices of labor. Then they have to raise the price of the goods. And you're seeing with the price of lumber right now, which is up over 200%, and building materials, it costs much more to build a house. In terms of what it costs for house insurance, I had a friend tell me that his house insurance went up 15% because they raised the price that it would cost to rebuild the structure should it fall in a fire or an earthquake or whatever else would take place. You are seeing inflation, and it is happening at the behest of the policies that are being introduced from the left-hand side of the aisle. When you shut down an economy and you don't produce anything and you incentivize people not to create, not to be productive, you sow the seeds of inflation, aside of the fact that the Federal Reserve is printing massive amounts of money. So the question for you, my dear listeners, is what to do about this. Protect yourself. Get away from cash. If you're invested in a farm, something that can raise prices as the price of inputs like fertilizer increases, they can then raise the price that it costs. Otherwise, there's no need to produce it. So you have a farm, you might have gold, you might have Bitcoin, but cash and the cash that will be outlaid, for example, and that cash ain't going to be worth anything. Your Social Security, this is one way that the government can get around really paying the Social Security that is owed, is just to inflate the currency away. And there's a limited amount of time that you can do that before you stop being the world's reserve currency. So California, which wasted, by the way, $31 billion in unemployment insurance by virtue of the fact that they handed it out to criminal syndicates that were requesting thousands of prepaid cars to the same address using different names to inmates because California doesn't have the checks and balances. Interestingly enough, by the way, they found no election fraud in California for the general election or in any other place. Of course, I would never insinuate that that was even a possibility on YouTube. There was no election fraud, believe me, understand me. But, of course, they checked for the governor recall, Governor Newsom, who handed out those $31 billion. He deserves to be recalled. I mean, how does somebody skate over that? $31 billion of taxpayer money just gone because of him, because of his policies, and the buck stops with him. But for the recall, of course, they check the signatures. This is where we are. So you're going to see a lot of inflation. You're going to see a lot of change in the United States because of the policies that are being enacted in the world, and the advantage that the United States has as the world's reserve currency are very likely to disappear, and they are very likely to shift, in my opinion, to something like Bitcoin. But nevertheless, to protect yourself, own stocks, own in companies that can raise their prices based on the price of inputs, because you have a good that is a little bit harder to replace, that people don't want to replace in their diets, like peanut butter, like avocados, whatever it might be. And that's how you protect yourself. But nevertheless, my friend who gave me this example, she's not able to hire anybody because the government is incentivizing them to sit on their asses. And thus, her business is closing up shop because she really can't afford to pay more for labor because she can't afford to raise her prices. Way to go, Governor Newsom, and way to go, Federal Reserve. Keep printing money, keep adding zeros at the end of the ledger, and see how long the currency has any value. Again, money that you can't exchange for goods and services because nothing is being produced has zero value. Peace and blessings. Thumb up this video. Just hit that little hammer, give that little like button, make it blue, and have a fantastic day. If you're new, subscribe with the notification bell. Peace out.